News 10.
An outpouring of support this morning, a day after a former co-worker murdered a reporter and photographer on live television. A memorial is growing outside the television station in Roanoke as people cope with the sudden loss. Loved ones remember the young journalists taken too soon.
She loved what she did, and she was going to go so far in this field.
And what's especially tragic is not only was he robbed of his life, this world was robbed of the future goals that he would have achieved.
10 on Your Side has live team coverage as police investigate why this tragedy happened. It is 4:30. Thank you so much for joining us on this very emotional morning. I'm Katie Collette.
And I'm Don Roberts. We're bringing you live team coverage on the heartbreak in Roanoke. We've been on top of this story since it happened yesterday morning. 10 on Your Side's Rico Bush is in our newsroom gathering more on the life of the victims, Allison Parker and Adam Ward.
But first, we start with 10 on Your Side's Erin Kelly. She's live in Northern Virginia where state police caught up with the shooter. Erin?
It's a much quieter morning here off of I-66 East. We're some 200 miles from the scene of yesterday's shooting. Hours after it happened, police say a trooper was on patrol around 11:30 a.m. when her license plate reader alerted her to a Chevrolet Sonic. She started following the suspect and waited for backup.
After other units arrived, a traffic stop was initiated at the 15.6 mile marker. At that time, the only occupant of the vehicle did not slow and did not stop for police vehicles. It then continued on and subsequently ran off the left side of the roadway at the 17.1 mile marker and struck an embankment. Officers then approached the vehicle and found the lone occupant had suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Now, 41-year-old Vester Flanagan went by the on-air name of Bryce Williams. Some described him as disgruntled. He previously worked for WDBJ. Now, the Franklin County Sheriff says this investigation is still ongoing. They don't know what motivated the suspect at this point. For now, we're live in Fauquier County. Erin Kelly, 10 on Your Side.
And good morning, I'm Rico Bush, live in the newsroom. In the past few hours, we have learned a lot about the two journalists who became the targets of a senseless tragedy. And today, we really want to focus on them. In this half hour, we want to share more with you about the life of Allison Parker. Parker grew up in Virginia, spending most of her life outside Martinsville. She went to JMU and joined WDBJ as a reporter last year. Her online biography says she enjoyed kayaking and musicals. She had just turned 24. Now, Chris Hurst, an anchor for the station and a boyfriend of Parker, described himself as numb after that deadly shooting. He wrote on Facebook, "We were together almost 9 months. It was the best 9 months of our lives. We wanted to get married." He goes on to say, "She was the most radiant woman I ever met, and for some reason, she loved me back." Well, this morning, a heartbroken Chris shares his last moments he had with Allison before gunman Vester Flanagan shot and killed her on live television.
Had a habit of always wanting her to text me when she got to work safely, and she did so, and the last thing that she said to me was, "Good night, sweet boy."
Now, before we leave you in this half hour, I would like to share with you an interview Allison's father did with Fox News last night.
You know, I've been, alternating between the shock and the grief. I've been, I'm holding up, I guess, okay, but I've been crying my eyes out all day long. And, it's gone back and forth. And now it's, the anger is starting to creep in there because this should not happen. It shouldn't have happened to someone like Allison.
Now, he went on to say our family can only take solace in the fact that although her life was brief, she was happy with it. She lived it to the fullest, and her spirit would always be with us. And in 30 minutes, I'll tell you more about the life of photographer Adam Ward and the special place he had within his community. Don, Katie, back to you.
There is another victim of the shooting to tell you about. Vicki Gardner was also shot during the live interview, and right now she's stable in a hospital.
Gardner is the executive director of the Smith Mountain Lake Chamber of Commerce and woke up early to promote the lake's 50th anniversary. We will have much more on this story coming up in 10 minutes, including reaction from the victim's co-workers.
But we want to check the latest path of Tropical Storm Erica. Meteorologist Jeremy Wheeler is tracking where it's headed. Jeremy?
Okay, yeah, thanks. We've got Tropical Storm Erica over the Leeward Islands right now, and it is impacting that region. Winds of 45 miles an hour sustained with higher gusts, and it's moving to the west at 16 miles an hour. So let's take a look at the forecast track. It is forecast to move towards Puerto Rico by Friday morning, and then into the Bahamas as we get into the weekend, Saturday into Sunday, as a tropical storm. However, then it is forecast to strengthen even more. Now, we may be getting the 5 a.m. update out very early, and so that's why the forecast just updated there. So let's take a look at where it takes it. Sunday evening, 65-mile-an-hour winds off the coast of Florida, and then staying off the coast of Florida is the most likely path, but the possible path is very wide at that time. There's a lot of uncertainty in this forecast towards that part of it. All right, so around here, things pretty quiet. We got a couple sprinkles in North Carolina around Elizabeth City, but some heavy rain down towards Hatteras, and that's going to go away later this morning, and then we're going to have a nice day. Hampton Roads will have a nice day, partly cloudy skies, highs in the low 80s. We'll have an update coming up. Jen?
Good morning. It's 4:36 with a check on time-saver traffic. I just spoke with state police, and they tell me that area interstates are accident-free. We'll take you to our traffic flows map, and it looks pretty good. Now, you'll notice up in the top right-hand corner the color change on our map. I called state police just to double-check what was going on, and I also checked the cameras. There is nothing there except overnight road work that's wrapping up in that area. No delays, no crashes, or anything like that. So I just want to make sure, you know, 64 eastbound right in that area is pretty good. Also, downtown tunnel is wrapping up their eastbound road work. It was just a single lane closure that's finishing up. Now back to Katie and Don.
We have a lot more to cover on the deaths of a television news crew.
And we'll show you the final picture captured from the photographer's camera. Hear from co-workers who say they instantly recognized the suspect.
10 on your side gets advice from a local counselor about workplace violence. He explains how we can help co-workers get the care they need before violence starts.
Plus, before you take a bite of toast this morning, we have a recall to tell you about. And we'll tell you which popular brands are getting taken off the shelves.